love African family. From Jam towards Africa. And I'm excited to be with these young Kenyans YouTubers. And I'm here to support them. And I said I did tours and so I'm relocated back to Africa. So that's what I do.
Okay, that's very nice. So we've been doing a lot of Jamaican content on our channel, and how we got to start talking, or how we got to meet with Afro-Jamaican was through Instagram. He reached out and we started talking, and I'm glad to finally meet you in person.
The pleasure is mine.
And when you reached out on Instagram and then you gave us your handle, your YouTube handle, we realized that we actually follow you. Another Jamaican recommended your channel, and we fell in love with a particular episode, the one that you were coming to Kenya and your experience with the immigration officer.
Okay, yes.
If you don't mind, could you tell us please a bit of your experience, your first time coming to Kenya?
So I was in Canada and something had happened to me, and I realized I need to leave and be around people that look like me, people that would understand me. That we have a term back home called code switching. That is how you have to behave different in front of people who are not Africans, right? So I was going to go to Ghana, and something just says no, not Ghana, go to Kenya. And so I kind of picked Kenya somewhat randomly. And coming through the airport, I remember coming through the airport. One thing I noticed before I get to the airport, on the flight from Addis, I'm about to Mombasa, including me and the crew of the aircraft, there were only 20 black people on board, and the flight was full. So I was like, wow, this is different. A lot of people are going, just not people like us. So I got to the airport, immigration officer looked at my passport, and I said something, and he goes, you have an accent? And I go, yeah, I'm Jamaican. He goes, oh, welcome. But when I got past immigration, the customs lady was searching the bag. She looked at my name, and my name is Nairobi. And so she was talking about the name, and then she said, hold on, where are you from? I'm Jamaican. And so we're having a wonderful experience. It's my first time in Kenya. I'm excited. So after she didn't even check my bag. We just talked, and I was leaving. She shouted my name at the airport, so I thought I did something wrong. I turned back, and she goes, welcome home. And honestly, even talking about it now, I still feel it. That one moment from that total stranger acknowledging me as an African and being at home has changed my life completely.
The reason why I shot that was it because of the Tanzanian president? What is his name?
Joe Julius Nyerere?
The same way.
No, we joked about that. She said, oh, you should go to Tanzania, they'll give you a parade. But the fact that she knew I'm Jamaican, she knew I've never been to Africa before, and she made it a point. She drove it home because I had walked away, and while I was finished with her, she stopped and she shouted my name, and I looked back and she goes, welcome home. And that was amazing. I wish I could go back and find her and thank her, because it totally changed the trajectory of my life from that moment.
And another question I really wanted to ask is, a lot of Jamaicans, when they talk about when they come to the motherland, they want to go to the areas, West African areas, maybe Ghana or Nigeria, and you describe your experience here in Kenya. So maybe tell us, what is the relationship Jamaicans have with West Africa that a lot of them only know those countries? And Zimbabwe or Zambia?
So the majority, you guys are familiar with the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade. So the majority of people in the West, black people in America and in the Caribbean, in South America, came from Angola, Nigeria, Benin, Togo, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Senegal, and the Gambia. That's where we're mostly from. There's when I was doing my research for one of my episodes, I do realize that some of us did come from Zimbabwe. There was a couple ships that did come from Zimbabwe, Mozambique, and head over as well. So it is possible that there might have been even some Kenyans on there as well, because I know there's one black American who has no ties to Kenya, but has Kenya.
No, it is
DNA.
possible because remember.
Because most Kenyans come from Congo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So it is possible.
And remember, so there's like a.
There's a Rasta union too, because remember the Momo was fighting the British, and they're all Rastas, and the Rasta originate from Jamaica. You understand? Well, Rasta is long before Jamaica still, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, so yeah, to answer your question is that's why, because we have an affinity for West Africa, because really the majority of us, that's where we're from.
Yes, I.
Right? So especially if you look at South America, most of the people in South America can directly trace their ancestors right back to Angola.
Okay, I'm interested to know when was your first time coming to Kenya and why did you choose Kenya?
Well, I actually chose Ghana, to be honest with you. I know 2017 I wake up saying peace and love, African family, peace, love and sunlight. So I think for me started saying that it was actually in me to come to Africa. So in the pandemic, I was like to get out of Jamaica. It was so small, a lot of lockdown. And for me, I always wanted to be on a continent of people. And I always feel like if I have a business, it will be better on a continent of people and not just like small Jamaica. As Marcus Garvey said, you never give up an island or a continent. So that was all in the back of my mind, somewhere big where I can reach a mass of people. So I chose Ghana, but I never really settled in Ghana. My plan was to always come to Ethiopia and find a wife. That was always my plan. So I actually end up in Kenya, found my wife in Kenya.
Alright. So the name Jamtos, is it like a business or company or is it just a name?
Well, for me, doing my business is always I am like an experience. Like when I'm traveling, I like to build a business around that, things that I like to do. So when you're doing business, it's always good to do something that you can wake up and do every day. You're having fun while you're selling something to somebody and them having fun and you're making money.
Whatever way you're using, why you ask me?
You have to love it. So I always try to, anything I do, I always try to actually create a business.
Tell me.
To health, I create a company called vegantransfoods.com.
Alright.
So I'm traveling now and experiencing new culture and new things. And I'm actually tying to helping people coming back to Africa. So when I was in Ghana, actually was trying we're doing a taxi service business. I call it Jam Tours Taxi Services. And I just because I'm into YouTube now, it's like Jam Tours.
So they always say that people from West Africa, like from Ghana, Nigeria, they are so loud, they are outgoing. How do you see Kenyans? Like you have interacted with Kenyans, or maybe you?
Yeah, Kenyans is pretty laid back.
Yes.
And that's the reason why you find like a lot of person, maybe a lot of men maybe like wives from East Africa because they're more like, more like not so loud and stuff and calm. So that's how I experience Kenyans.
And there is this one recent topic I was discussing on YouTube about some comment I received in my YouTube about there is this one person who usually say that don't call Jamaicans Africans because they even don't look like Africans. Jamaicans are Tainos and Arawak and Maroons. What's your comment on that?
So I'm going to tell you this. There has been a lot of effort put into separating us. And every so often someone else will try a different strategy to separate us. And I see that as nothing more than a strategy to separate us. Because I will challenge any one of those Jamaicans who said that they're Taino to do a DNA test. And so that's all I'm going to say with them. Let's do a DNA test and put it to rest. Now, the Tainos that were in Jamaica are all died out. They no longer exist in Jamaica. You might find some people of the Maroons that will have DNA from the Tainos because those are the ones who escaped very early from when the Spanish had Jamaica and they went up in the mountains. And chances are, they might have been Tainos still left up there. So you might have some DNA. But the majority of Jamaicans are African. Now you have Chinese Jamaicans, you have white Jamaicans.
Out of one, many people.
Yeah. Don't get me started on that.
No, you can't go around that. You can't go around that. You can't go around that.
Of course you can't go around that.
Don't get me started on that. So I'm pro-African. I'm not against anybody, but I'm for Africans. And if me being for Africans kind of eliminate other things, then so be it. So yeah. But anyway, so that's why they say that. There's even this movement in the States now, what they call themselves, FBAs, that they're native to United States. Again, I challenge any of those people to do a DNA test. No. Were there Africans on the continent before Columbus? Absolutely.
Yes.
Columbus says it in his diary.
Yes.
He saw Africans. So I'm not disputing the fact that Africans were not traversing the Atlantic Ocean before the Europeans came. Of course they were.
We're the one that create the route.
They have
in the sea.
they have the Olmec heads. They have statues in South America that are very much African. So I'm not disputing any of that, but that is not where we're from. And until there is some scientific proof showing otherwise, I'm going to say we are all from Africa.
So I see you have a logo on your shirt, and I know there's a reason behind the words. So maybe you talk to us about that and you tell us.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be my pleasure. CREDEA stands for the Coalition for the Repatriation of the Descendants of Enslaved Africans. The whole idea behind CREDEA, it came out of the challenges I have of trying to relocate to Kenya. There is currently no process by which a descendant of the transatlantic slave trade, so an African who was removed 500 years ago, to be able to come back to Africa. There's no procedure. So CREDEA started as to bring awareness that there's a bunch of us who want to come back home. There's no policy for us to come back home. So let us try and encourage, I wouldn't say convince, encourage some of these African countries to give us the right to return. So we have a petition and we're trying to get 5,000 signatures on the petition. It is free to sign. The petition is on change.org, but you can access it through my website, which is credea.com/repatriation, and you'll be able to go right to the change.org website and fill out the questionnaire, do the survey. The survey is free to sign. Anybody can sign it. I want Africans to sign it. I want continental Africans, diaspora Africans to sign it. Because if we get enough momentum behind this, we get the 5,000 signatures, I'm going to take that document to every African embassy in Washington, D.C. I live about a 10-hour drive from Washington, D.C., so I'll just drive down and distribute it then. But the second part to it, of my third-part strategy, the second part is to get Africans writing their member of parliament and say, hey, our cousins from the Caribbean and from the Americas and from Europe want to come home to Africa. Make a policy for them. So anybody who signs up on the CREDEA, the survey, or the petition rather, eventually they're going to get a letter that they can just simply put their name, sign if they agree, and send it to their elected representative. And then the elected representative, hopefully if they get enough, will go to their, I think in Kenya you have a Senate, will go to the Senate and say, hey, I'm presenting a private member's bill to create a policy for descendants of the transatlantic slave trade to find a home in Africa. So that is the end goal, is yes, to get the petition out there so everybody's aware of it, but to hopefully get continental Africans to say, hey, let our cousins and brothers and sisters, let them back into the continent. Because while we are not millionaires, we are professionals, we are educated, we're coming with experience. So I think you guys can build Africa yourselves. I have no doubt about that. But with us, it will be, we can do it faster, right? And that's the whole aim. With us coming together,
more unity.
We can do it faster. Yes, absolutely. But when I look around at different African countries, they all have a similar policy, and the policy disproportionately affects black people trying to immigrate to these African countries.
So on that note, there's this controversial quote I'm going to make. Do you think they fear that if we unite, we become stronger? That's why they are keeping these harsh policies.
I think if we unite, there will be a shift in consciousness, and I'm going to tell you why. When certain people come here, you see them on vacation. The interaction you have with them, or you see them if they're posted at the UN or posted somewhere, you have a very limited interaction with them. I live with them every day. The treatment is very different from when someone is on vacation. So if we come together, I think I'll be able to give you a very different perspective of certain behaviors that you see here that you don't understand. Though, if you get what I'm saying, you understand, but I'm not going to really get into it. I do have a job. I don't want to get fired. So, yeah. So, I think there is a fear of us coming together. And that is why a lot of immigration policies are the way they are. To come to Kenya, if you want to move here and operate a business, you need $100,000 US in a Kenyan bank. To go to Zimbabwe, it's $125,000. To go to South Africa, it's $500,000. Now, as black people, unfortunately to say, wherever in the world we are, we tend to be the poorest. Okay? We tend to be...
Why is that?
Again, it's all by design.
It's all about unity.
It's
Lack of support each other.
It's also by design. There's a system in there is a system at play here. We
to
bear
break
some
black people.
responsibility.
Of course we do.
We bear some responsibility, but there's also a system at play. It's why I could be having the exact same job as the Caucasian, and I will be paid less than the Caucasian. So there is a system at play.
Don't you think that they fear black people?
I don't
Because
know
we
if
were
it's
the
a
first
fear.
ruler.
I don't know if it's all of that. I think a system was created by their forefathers 500-600 years ago to benefit them.
Why?
And
Because, let me tell you why. Because everyone, black people was the first civilization set of people on earth. We used to be the ruler, the kings and queens on earth before the Caucasian come in place. So when them turn around now and overthrow us because of our own selfishness, they can't give us back that power to take place. Because remember, we were the first modernization people on earth now. Teach people how to cook, how to build, how to do mathematics, how to do everything. Civilization starts from here, Africa, from us. So when they get the chance to control the power, they learn from us and overthrow us by our own people and never try to get us back on top because they try everything to break us. So that could be 500 years or more. They try to control us, take away our history, take away our knowledge, our power, strip us from our rights. Because the moment we get back that, they're going to know that we are going to be on top again, and they do not want that.
And what I will say to that is, I don't necessarily think it's a fear, because to be quite honest, we have militarily we're nothing. Economically, we're nothing. Resource-wise, we are everything. And if we did come together and started to think as Pan-Africans as opposed to just Kenyans or just Ugandans or just Tanzanians,
Yes.
they will have an issue. They will have an issue.
That's what I'm saying.
If they started paying the fair prices for our minerals or food and all that, they will have an issue. So it's more about economics. It's not a physical fear, because really they can still dominate us. They still do. They still do.
But if we control the food, we control the world. Anyone control the food, control the world, right? Yeah, can you war without food?
So I'll tell you this. What I'll say is this. Other countries grow food as well.
We control the resources too.
Other countries have resources as well.
Than black people?
It's not a competition. What I'm saying to you is other countries have resources as well. So we have to come together and make it so that we operate as a bloc. We should negotiate as a bloc and not do individual bilateral agreements with these organizations.
True.
Because we're going to lose. And that's where I think we come in, because we see it in a different picture. When I'm coming to Kenya, I'm coming to Africa. Yes, it's Kenya, but I'm looking other places. I'm looking as, if I see a Ugandan, you're my brother. And unfortunately, I get that some Africans don't see it that way. Some Africans don't even think we're Africans.
True.
From the diaspora.
True.
I see the comments. Oh yes.
Yeah.
But for us coming here, any black person, well, let me not say any. Let me give a statistic. 99.997% of black people who are coming to Africa are Pan-Africans. They are coming with the intention that we should get together. There's some exploiters out there. Don't get me wrong, right? But the majority of us coming here because we want to see us together. We see us as one family, really, and that's why. We do get our feelings hurt when you interact and you realize that some Africans don't see us as Africans. They see us as foreigners with dollar signs. So sometimes it does hurt. I'm not going to tell you it doesn't. But at the end of the day, I think that was also by design, and not necessarily something that you did, but something that whatever system that was here conditioned your mind to think that way.
And Africans and other black people, be it Jamaica or Black Americans, let's say. So because of this disconnect, maybe the question I want to ask is for Africans to try and understand when a Jamaican is coming into the country or into Africa in general, the kind of struggles you guys go through, right? Maybe if you can discuss with us a little of those so that we can
One of you guys want to take that? You can.
When it comes to like coming from Jamaica, you know, you have a lot of classes and you know, I mean, you have like, you know, racism, you have colorism, you know. So in Jamaica, you see that people is bleaching and stuff. Stemming from that, you know, that stigma where, you know, the light here, opportunity you get much. So, you know, in Jamaica, you'll actually experience things like that. So you want to like bleach and stuff. So those are some of the challenges.
Favoritism.
So when you come to Africa, everybody's like you. So everybody's, you just feel so great, you feel so good, and I never feel so safe. And so, you know what I mean, even how police deal with you, if you see Jamaican police terrorize you for small things. You don't find that in Kenya. It's like, police is not like on the road with a ticket book, giving you a ticket when you're driving and stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, you drive here freely as a foreigner. I love that. You feel so free. You can go on the soft shoulder when you want. You know, it's like, you know, in Jamaica, you do that.
But
Let me tell you one thing.
we have a privilege though that they don't have in their own country, and we need to acknowledge that. We have a privilege in this when we're here that you don't have in your own country.
What's that?
And it's really sad. You don't think you have a privilege being here?
Here? No, it's not.
I
don't think
definitely
so.
think so.
We don't think so.
Police may not harass you. I've seen things, my friend, and I think that's what you were just gonna say.
That was what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I think as a foreigner in any country, especially if there's a economic imbalance, you're going to have some privilege. You're going to have some privilege. So like I went to my bank the other day, and the branch manager and the director from the head office bought me breakfast. How many Kenyans are going to get that? Exactly. So what I'm going to say is that there is a privilege that comes with it, and I will acknowledge that privilege and try to use it in service.
How much money you were spending at the bank that day?
It's not about, I wasn't spending any money, to be quite honest.
Well, you were saving.
They were helping me. No,
They're helping you?
They were helping me.
That's nice.
But to go back to your question about the challenges come when you want to try and immigrate here, right? It comes down to Kenya doesn't really have an immigration policy necessarily, just like Jamaica, so it's not unique. The difference is with Jamaica, you could go to Jamaica tomorrow, register a business, apply for a work permit, and have it within, I don't know, 30 days.
A matter of fact, you can't even go to Jamaica and start a business without no documents and everything
We're
be
not
good.
going to promote that. No.
No. I'm just saying, we're not promoting
You
it
can do that here too.
with no stress.
You can do that here too.
I'm just saying,
But
no
what
stress.
I'm saying is the financial requirements from Jamaica is not as hard as it is here.
Exactly.
It is very hard here.
Difficult.
And so coming here to retire is easy. Coming here to vacation is easy. But if you're going to come here and intend to operate a business, be prepared. There will be some challenges. And I've lost money twice. I've been scammed twice. Yeah.
Bang on them there, yo.
I'm still
chop the
not
line.
giving up because I feel I belong here. And is it wise to make financial decision on emotions? Probably not, but the feeling of belonging I have here, to me, is priceless. So I'm not paying any more facilitation fees, so y'all don't come asking. But I feel like I belong here, so I'm gonna try whatever I need to stay here.
And there's an episode posted about you, and there's something you're trying to communicate to our Kenyan president, right?
Oh, yes. Okay.
So if the president was watching this, because I believe miracles do happen, if this happened to land on the laps of the president, communicate to him, like, what would you want him to know, and what would you like him to work on?
Just a policy, a very clear, a transparent, efficient policy, how descendants of the transatlantic slave trade, or even the Arab slave trade for that matter, who want to come back to Kenya, because he's the president of Kenya, have a policy for us to come back.
Yeah.
Right? We're not asking to be citizens. We're not asking the right to vote. I'm not asking for any social benefits or anything. Just say, hey, you want to come? You have a certain percentage of DNA or you're melanated. Come, pay $2,000 for your fees, then whatever, and go.
Also one.
I believe I'm a Kenyan, but also I have to call out the wrongs that are in our country, and I do believe the problem that is ailing our country is the corruption. Because even if someone wants to come and start a business, people don't see the side where someone is coming, starting a business and creating job opportunities at the same time. That is something I believe that can help the country. But the problem is the corrupt officials we have in Kenya.
I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get deported. But yes, I believe I have two companies registered here. One that's not operational, which is the one I want to work in. The one that is my passion. I want to come and live that passion here. Right away when I start, I will need 3 employees. Right away. My other company, I own some bikes, bodas. Right? I have a Kenyan partner. She manages it. I bought the bikes. It's our company, 50-50 split. And she's an employee, and there are 2 other employees that ride bikes. By the end of the year, we hope to have 10 bikes, right? So even if one person comes and hires 2 people, it's a win-win. It's a win-win. And I understand that we want multinationals to come into our countries and hire people, but I'm going to use Canada as an example. The majority of Canadians work for small to medium enterprises, not massive corporations.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's Canada.
And I would want to say it's the same for most countries,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
right? So there's an opportunity here. Everybody, the minute you're black and you come from the West, they call you Black Americans. So I'm gonna just say African American.
Yeah.
African Americans have money. African Americans spend about $12 billion on weave. You know that false hair that people wear?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, in the last 5 years, $12 billion.
That's a lot of money.
Just on here.
And weave.
Okay, we take vacations. We could be coming here. So there's so much opportunity that Afro-Americans or Afro-Caribbean or Afro-British that we could give to Africa, that we could give to Kenya. But I just don't think we're on their radar. I don't think so. So if the president is seeing it, a clear and efficient system where we know what the fee is, we pay the fee using M-Pesa or online, and that's it. Right?
Just make it
I'm
more.
not saying don't do your
more leniency. Make it more easier for your own.
I don't know
to
if
the
it's
people.
easier. I want it to be clear. I want it to still have a security check. Because
Exactly.
you don't want sketchy people coming.
Or criminals coming.
It should be.
Yeah.
It should be something where you have to prove that you were either born in Jamaica or born in the U.S. or it has to have checks and balances because you need checks and balances. I understand that.
Yes.
You also have to have stipulations. If I come and open a company, at least 80% of my workforce must be Kenyan. Like you have to protect Kenyans as well. So we're not looking to be dishonest or to take anything from Kenyans. We're looking to work together to build. All boats rise with the tide. Yes, I want to take care of my family financially, but I can hire you and you can take care of your family financially. And if business get great and I expand, then you can buy into the company or you can become the manager. So we can do it. Even somebody who retires here, he still hire a house person. So I just think that we are almost like a hidden market for the Kenyan government, and I don't think they see us, and I don't know how to make them see us.
Now, it's my first person to meet you on YouTube, and I've heard that you, at the first time, you wanted to choose Ghana, and now you are here in Kenya. Even you chose Ghana, but you are here. I'm happy you chose Ghana because because even Ghanaians, I have a lot of Ghanaians followers. They are telling me they want to come in Kenya. So, my question to you: when you are not in Africa, when you are viewing Africa from outside, we had this thing that this discussion that